After my ICD installation, end of 2018, I was keen to get traveling again, and my partner lives in the Netherlands, which I've mentioned. So I went over there and I just wanted to take a bit of time out again, kind of from a recovery perspective. And funnily enough, my sister had her honeymoon in Sri Lanka and she'd been on this yoga retreat thing. And I'm not a huge yoga buff, but I just thought it would be an amazing experience. So I found out where her instructor was from there, and he was doing this retreat in Jamaica. I've never been there, and it did feel, I'm going to say, very self-indulgent, but I can, and taking a bit of time and adjusting also to the defibrillator. So I flew to see my friend in Miami again for a few days, and then went down to Jamaica for 10 days or so to do this yoga retreat. And it was really blissful. I mean, to think as well, it was still within kind of 2 months. That was February, so it was kind of 7 weeks after the operation, but to be there and to be, again, eating great food, being in good company, it was really, really great. And then came back from that, and I had something to look forward to, had a plan to go on a trip around Asia. And so in March that year, I flew to Singapore, and my dad was doing some work out there, so that was fun. We were on the same plane as him, so me and my partner flew over. So it was Singapore for a few days, and then we went to Hong Kong and Macau, and also China to Beijing, went to see the Great Wall of China. And it was just an adventure and traveling and just like being alive, and it was just really, really fantastic. And again, adjusting to traveling with the ICD and just feeling more grateful than anything else, and it was stable, and it was really great to be able to share it with someone special as well. At the same time, which I just mentioned, I had my first client, and so whilst I was traveling, having my client and experiencing the world where I remember checking into the hotel in Macau in the lobby and reception, but doing a client session, and just this like amazing feeling of contributing and working and traveling all at the same time, and it was really, really fantastic and rewarding. And passion of mine is skiing, which again I've mentioned before. So I came back from that adventurous trip, and I went with a friend, a great old friend called Dan, and we went and we blocked out the time, and we weren't sure if I could do it, but I was able to. So we went skiing for the week, and then with my family as well, and it was something like a really big, special time to get my brothers and sister together to go skiing also for a few days in a place called Morzine. Those 2 weeks were really informative because I had a dream to go and live again in the mountains, and so those were the two different areas that I was going to choose to see which one I liked, and Morzine ended up winning that, which I'll come back to. But it was making a decision then for that Christmas winter to be able to go back and live in the mountains. And so it was, I'm going to say, an amazing few months. And then it was then getting back after all of those different trips and kind of getting back into this target and focus, which I mentioned about from a coaching perspective, of how I can build up and do one client a day and really kind of step that up. And that was then from the kind of April, May, June, I was doing, and I delivered exactly on that, which was really, really great. And I'm just so grateful again, the time that I worked prior to this. I don't talk, people say, do you feel lucky or unlucky? But I think I worked to get to that position, that I was then able to live in this way, that I had the flexibility and the time and the money to be able to do those things. So again, I don't say I'm lucky, I created that luck, and I really appreciate that the hard work that I put in enabled me to do then when I needed that time, I was able to take that time. So that was really, really good, and a great few months off, and also kind of a reset that I needed. And I mentioned as well the article, which again I'll share a link in the post, in the comments, about writing, sharing the failure. Of course, say failure, people go, oh, you didn't fail, you learn and all of those things, but there is a failure, and I tried to do something and it didn't work, so there was a failure, but there was definitely the learnings. And it was so interesting putting that out on LinkedIn, and the sharing and the comments and the feedback loop I got from people, and people from all over the world reaching out, and it led into some super interesting conversations, some work opportunities. And again, I think a great example of, from a vulnerability perspective, of kind of sharing and things opening up. And so often we are presenting our best selves, especially on social media, and kind of challenges associated with that. And I was really anxious about, if I share, what does that mean, and will people still want to work with me, and all of those things. But actually it just came back leaps and bounds. I think it serves you both as well, and this is partly from this series, being able to openly share, and other people then can relate to you as well. I really found that was yeah, really overwhelming. And I think the article and the shares, it was like over 100,000 times. And again, it was so heartfelt and it's so interesting. One person was like, it's quite long. I'm like, yeah, I didn't write it for anyone else. I just wrote it because that's how long it was. That was the journey. That's what happened. So I'm really grateful for people responding in the way that they did. And someone sent me a book. It was a real outpouring and a really satisfying experience to be able to go through that and again, have the time. I think you can underestimate that some things just take time. And adjusting and getting used to things and kind of a reset. And that's what, yeah, the beginning of 2019 was all about. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out the British Heart Foundation, Cardiomyopathy UK, and Save 9 Lives for more information. Why not comment on the video, tell me what you think or ask a question, and subscribe to the channel to continue to follow my journey.